Hello, this is Venkatesh. Good morning, good evening to every one of you. I thought of recording this small video for you as a lot of members are approaching me today for their PMP and PMI ACP certification. As you know that the current version of PMBOK is coming to an end by end of this year. So people who are want to pursue their interest in for the certification, this is the ideal time to kickstart their preparation. It takes about 3 to 4 months depending upon the individual case. Um, People take this much time to complete their PMP. Some people complete in 3 months, some people take 5 months, some people complete even after 6 months, like me, who took nearly about 5 to 6 months. So this video, I will tell something about this preparation of your PMP and also tell something about my background, why I am here to coach you or mentor you for both of these certification. To tell about myself, I have done my basic statistics, master in statistics from Indian Statistical Institute, based out of India at New Delhi, and this institute is good for students who are aspiring in the field of mathematics, statistics, economics, computer science, and also analytics. They are good. They are also conducting a lot of analytical courses and Six Sigma courses, which you can contact them in case, in addition to your PMP, if you are interested in some of these courses, you can always contact them also. I am PMP certified in year 2010 and also PMI ACP certified. I completed this exam in 2016. So I thought of starting this group to meet these both audiences. PMP is basically, as on date, it is focused more about the traditional project management style. The power of authority lies with the project manager, and you are responsible for the success or failure of the project. In case of PMI ACP certification, it is more towards the software development area, where you work like a service leader, where the team is performing. You are only giving removing the bottlenecks like impediments, and you see that the project is getting executed successfully with your support and coaching. So there are two basic differences between these two certification. And you can, depending upon your background, you can go for one of the certification. I have coached and mentored number of project managers when I was working for earlier organization and also outside the organization. I have a track record of turning out PMPs about 20 plus members, and also people who have want to complete their CAPM certification. And also we had our own IBM certification when I was working for IBM in 2010 to 2016. So we have our own IBM certification for project management. There also I have mentored a lot of project managers. This is my background. So let us go over to the next slide. What makes you eligible for PMP? You should have a 4,500 hours of work experience in project management. So you have to document that. You have to document each project, how many hours you spent on each process group, like initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and control, etc. There are templates available where you can capture your work experience and you can submit it to PMI. PMI takes about 5 business days to approve your application. It is a simple process. It doesn't take time much. So you have to complete that. But however, you have to submit your application through online PMI site. There is a second requirement, that you have to complete your 35 contact hours of formal project management training. You have already completed, then you can give its reference. If you are not completed, I would recommend you to go to Udemy, where they offer $10 courses every week. So you take one of the courses and complete this 35 contact hours. But do this contact hours sincerely. Don't do it for the sake of getting that certification. Please do it. Go through the complete videos, knowledge areas, and understand. So you, while doing the course, you align that course with your experience. like risk management. So what you have done in your projects regarding the risk management, you try to align that. So when they talk about the cost management, you align your experience with that earn value management, whether you have worked out some costing for your projects, how you have done it. When you are talking about the initiation project framework, then they will talk about the project charter. They will talk about SOW. They will also talk about the approval of project charter to kickstart your project. So you try to align your knowledge with that videos, so that you can always when you are aligning your knowledge and experience with this course, it is very easy for you to pass the exam. This exam is not a memorizing exam. Here all the questions will be scenario based, so you have to understand each option and choose the correct one. Coming back to the next slide, how much time is required for PMP? This is this is a very debatable topic. Each person is different. Some I have seen people completing even in 2 months, and in some people finish their exam immediately after that boot camp. And the traditional method is that follow the book and also the videos and also the notes and your own notes, how you have understood from the textbook. That is very important. You have to keep your own notebook where you have to put your daily knowledge, what you have gained. So that will come as a reference when you are giving the exam towards the end. And also track your study hours, which is very important. And people say that you can complete this exam in 200 hours. I think that is correct estimate. You can easily complete this exam in 200 to 250 study hours with no break in study period. This is very important. I had seen people who are doing this study during only in the weekend. No, that will not suffice. You have to daily study for even for 60 minutes. You should study. If you when you get bored, not don't feel like studying, 1 or 2 days are okay for me, but you should not discontinue for a long time. That is very important. You should capture the study hours, and you should cumulatively you should add that every week. You should add how many hours you have studied. This tracking is required. So this is exactly what you're doing in the project also, monitoring and controlling. You are tracking your project. Like that, you have to monitor your own study hours, which is very important. So the people who are not become member of PMI, I will encourage them to do it, because they can download their PMBOK from the site. And that is, PMBOK is a very methodology of the project management from which the questions are going to come in your exam. So you should have at least, you should go through the PMBOK at least 1 or 2 times thoroughly. How to study? This is another question. How to study? See, as I told you, you must study every day. If not, due to some emergency or some personal work, you can always skip for 1 or 2 days, but you should continue, you should bounce back and study for this exam. And whenever you don't feel like studying, I would give you a tip that follow some mock test. It is something like doing exercise in the morning. See, when we do the exercise in the morning, we get freshen up, right? So the same way, if you are not feeling like studying, take some 20 questions, 30 questions, and try to answer that. You may not have even studied, doesn't matter, but start giving the answer for what you understood from your previous work experience. This way your mind will get fresh, and you will start opening your book. This is a very proven method, believe me. When you don't feel like opening your book, go for 20 questions mock test. Attempt. Whether you know the subject or not, you attempt. Then you will understand what you are lacking. Then immediately you will open the book and start studying. I mean, this is the way I have done it, so it will work for you also. There are a number of good textbook available for your mock test. I will come to that later. Going forward, as I told you, you must read PMBOK, and also you should go through each knowledge area. It's very important. PMBOK, PMI is prescribed about 10 knowledge areas, like your scope, schedule, then your risk management, human resources, communication, stakeholder, procurement management, and also the professional ethics. So all these knowledge areas, it will take you minimum 1 week per knowledge area. So 10 knowledge areas means 10 weeks you will spend. After that, you have to understand the 47 processes. Each process is having input, output, and tools and techniques. The tools and techniques, there are number of tools and techniques. Like in case of quality management, you all heard about the Ishikawa diagram or the 5 Ys, and also your Pareto chart, Six Sigma, that is statistical process control, SQC, statistical quality control. And in case of human resources and communication, there are a number of techniques like Maslow theory of motivation, XY theory of motivation, Herzberg theory. These are all very interesting one. See, if you have a real project management experience, then you relate your each project with this knowledge area. See, like for example, I know in my projects, I had a lot of good resources as well as bad resources. Some people cooperate with you, some people don't cooperate with you. So you have to escalate. So when you do that thing, what you bound to make mistake. The resources may get angry with you and he may not cooperate with you. So these are the type of questions which are going to come in your exam also. So you have to relate your knowledge, experience with that PMBOK and study a proper and understand the what is the scientific approach to this kind of conflict management. And no, there are proven theories how to get the work done through your resources. And basically, the agile certification is all about that only. See, in agile project management, you are not working as an authority person in like in traditional project management. You have to be a service leader. You have to listen to the people because they are the people who are doing the technical job. Those are the people who are doing your coding. So in case of other civil projects, the resources who are building your bridge, the people who are building your house, those are the people who are actually doing the work. You are only monitoring their work. So you have to listen to them, right? You should understand the problem. If some worker is not coming for a particular day due to some family emergencies, you should accept that. So all questions coming in the exams are all very practical. So I don't see any challenge in answering them. Maybe it may confuse you. Some question may confuse you. That you have to align with PMBOK. So you will be successful in the clearing the exam. So coming back to the next slide, there is a lot of debate on ITTO. You need not memorize this ITTO, but you should know what is the output of, say, like for example, in the initiation, the project charter is the output, right? Where you get it approved from your sponsor. So project charter is an output, right? And change request, right? Change request is another process where whenever there is a change in scope, schedule, or budget, you create a change request. So there will be number of questions on the change request. The PMBOK prescribed that change request has to go to the change control board, where you have to get a formal approval. So this ITTO, you need not bother much. There are some mobile apps available where you can check your knowledge based on this thing. You don't bother much about ITTO chart, but you should know which is coming as an input, which is coming as an output. You should aware about that. Like risk register. Risk register is an output for your risk. Once you identify the risk, where you capture your risk, that is in a risk register, right? So that will be risk register is an output. So you should be familiar with that. And in addition to that, there will be number of numerical questions in earned value management like SV, CV, CPI, SPI. SV stands for schedule variance, and CV stands for cost variance. Cost performance index stands for CPI. Schedule performance index called for schedule. SV is related to SPI, CV related to CPI, right? So you should know how to compute your numerical problems. You should know first what is earned EV, then what is PV. PV is planned value. EV is earned value. Earned value is the amount of work completed. Planned value is the work supposed to be completed, right? So you should aware about these terminologies and you should be in a position to solve the problems. So if you are not good in mathematics, then you will have problem in understanding this earned value management. So I generally contact a special coaching people who are not familiar with earn value management and network diagrams and etc. So you should be aware about that. You cannot just skip those chapters and say that I will clear the PMB exam. No, it's not possible. Then comes when you should schedule your exam. Ideally, I would suggest that after your first 2 months of preparation, you take one mock test. It can be a free mock test or a paid mock test. You take one mock test, sit for 4 hours and understand how much you are scoring. When I took my first mock test, I could score only 50% and I could not answer even 180 questions. Forget about 200. I could not even answer 180 questions. So it was a big challenge for me. What happened? Then I started analyzing where I made the mistake. You are supposed to spend only 1 minute for every question. If you are spending more than 1 minute for reading the question, you cannot answer all the 200 questions. You should remember that. So if you are not, why they are doing like that? Because project managers are supposed to take fast decision, right? Even for the schedule of your exam, I have seen people not even schedule their exams. You have to schedule your exam faster so that you get a pressure of completing that exam. So you prepare and study. So stress is a part of project manager's job. So you should get accustomed to that. Okay. So after seeing your results of first mock exam, then you will understand the gap analysis, where you are lacking the knowledge, where you have made the mistake in that first exam. Then you should start filling your gaps. How you do that? You go through the PMBOK again, go through the knowledge area again, and if you're not able to understand the concept, engage a mentor like me for that particular knowledge area. I know that not all the people will understand earn value procurement management. Procurement management is talk about cost reimbursable contract. It talks about time and material contract. Most of the people know about only time and material contract. They are not aware about cost reimbursable contract or fixed period contract, fixed price contract, right? So you should be aware about the any new knowledge areas which are not very comfortable. Please engage a mentor and have a meeting with mentor and understand the concept. So I help people on these areas. And risk management is another very tricky knowledge area because I was not very good in risk management. Today I have gathered a lot of knowledge in risk management, but when I appeared for my PMP, it was my weak subject. So I see, because you should know what is the difference between a risk and issue, right? Risk is something which you foresee. Issue is something which has already happened post-mortem. When the issue happens, you have to solve it, right? So, but risk is something which you foresee what is going to happen. That is what people call it as an identifying the risk. You should know in the project what are the risks involved, what is going to happen in the project. Even the resources who is not available and is going for next 1 week, when that time you are having a go live date or an deployment, then the project is going to suffer. You should identify those things. Then you should have a backup plan, etc. So you should do full justification for your PMP by going through all the knowledge areas and practiced 4 to 5 mock tests. And every mock test, you should monitor your score. The first mock exam, I know that you will get maybe less than 60, but your target is to attain a percentage of 70%. If you say 70%, that means you are supposed to answer 140 questions correctly out of 200. If you get 70% consistently, then I would say that you can go and schedule your exam. And you have today they are charging you $70 for even reschedule of exam. So you should do it 1 month before so that you don't need to pay again for rescheduling your exam. The mentees whom I coach, they come to me for rescheduling of the exam. I check their mock exam results, then I advise them whether they should go for a reschedule or they can go with the exam. And please note that even you study for 6 months, then also you will not be very confident of giving the exam. So it is a very natural process. So don't get afraid that you are not prepared enough. Don't prepare too much. Don't, if you take too much preparation also bad, too little preparation also bad. Go with 4 to 5 months of preparation and do justification by capturing your daily study hours and also monitoring your mock test results. And don't take mock test frequently. If you give one mock test, give a break of 10 days and study your gap, whatever questions you have made wrong, you go through that and reference it with PMBOK, where you made the mistake, why the option B is correct, why the option C is not correct. You discuss with your mentor, I have a problem in this question, I have answered it B, whereas the correct answer is C. Why that C is correct? Why not B? So these kind of questions you can discuss with your mentor. Mentor will be in a position to give a clarification by which your concepts get more broadened up, right? So I have written in this slide, you have to do your mock test, practice, practice, and practice, which will happen not in the beginning. It will happen around towards the end. Okay, towards the end, you have to do a lot of mock test. In the initially, you should do one mock test. Maybe during the middle, you could do 1 or 2 mock tests. Then towards the end, you should do 3 to 4 mock tests so that you are confident of appearing for the exam. Why people mistake in the mock test? That is another interesting debate. We try to align with our experience. Don't align with your experience. When a question is being asked, it is the question asked for the PMP exam, not for your personal project, right? Or a professional project. So when the question is asked, you should understand the question from the PMI perspective, that is PMBOK perspective. You don't give the answer with your experience. Never do that. If you do that, you will fail in the exam. Try to relate the question with PMBOK. In which knowledge area the question is coming? What is the correct approach? Like some questions you can straight away knock off. Some questions answers you can straight away knock off. Out of 4 options, 2 options can be straight away knocked off. But the remaining 2 answers will confuse you whether this is correct or that is correct. That time you spend time, you lose the time. So if you are taking 1 minute per question, first 1 or 2 minutes you will eliminate the 2 answers. The remaining debate is which answer to choose, whether I could choose B or C or E. Then you say that no, after marking B, you will feel that no, C is correct. You go back to the question. Never do that. If once you take a decision of marking B, you mark it and mark it for review. Towards the end, you will break your head whether C is correct or B is correct. If you start analyzing that in every question, you are going to lose your time. You cannot complete all the 200 questions. As I told you before, the questions will come in a cyclical fashion. The first 10 questions may be difficult. The next 5 questions will be very easy. The next 5 questions will be again moderately difficult. Then again 10 questions will come very easy. So don't get frightened in the beginning. When you first appear, the first question always people do wrong. Actually, I know that because people are stressed. Slowly you will answer the questions correctly as you go through the exam. And take break. After answering 100 questions, you take a break. Maybe you can sit in the chair and take a long breathe, and also pause for 2 to 3 minutes, then again start your exam. So this all helps actually. Okay, there are a number of mock tests available, paid one, non-paid one, free one. So you can take 4 to 5 good mock tests. So during my mentoring, I will tell you which are the tests you should take. And please note that once you are getting 65 to 70%, you are ready for the exam. You can go and give your exam. Okay. And on the day before the exam, don't study. You take a good sleep and take good breakfast and go and give the exam. You will be successful. And please note that this exam is easy one. Don't think that this exam is difficult one. This exam is very easy. If you have done your project successfully, why you will not pass in your PMP? That's what I ask most of my mentees. If you have done all your projects successful, why not you can clear your PMP? You can always clear your PMP on first attempt. Have confidence. The confidence is one quality each project manager should have, because you will be having a lot of problems in your project. So you should feel confident because you are the person who is going to interact with stakeholders about the project. You should tell always good things to your stakeholders. If there is something which requires the escalation, definitely you should take it up with your stakeholders. You should feel confident always in your project management. That's why this test is putting you in some difficulty level for 4 hours. That's it. And I am sure that one of you will clear this exam if you do some homework and planning and then preparation. Wish you all the best. Thanks for attending my video. Have a good day. Thank you.